Poptropica, one of the staples of casual gaming in the late 2000s. Poptropica was able to secure a bunch of collaborations with huge brands like Wimpy Kid, Snoopy, Disney, Lego. It was a high-quality, safe, premium, educational advertising platform, rather than just a traditional game. I mean, it's pretty genius. Every island was different. It was great as an interactive marketing tool for popular books, movies, toys, and Fortnite actually does this too. They have a lot of collaborations with big names. They sell skins and emotes and other things. So Poptropica definitely had a huge impact on gaming at that time. It was created in 2007 by Jeff Kinney, which also created Wimpy Kid. Poptropica quickly became one of those games that everybody knew about. You had different islands, each one was basically its own story, solved mysteries, completed quests, and actually progressed through the game. I mean, I remember playing this so much. Like, my sister was the one who really liked Poptropica, but I also played it. And it's just such a cute, unique idea. And I'm somebody who really likes having different types of content. Like, for example, I'm not much of a show rewatcher. I mean, this is just a personal thing. I just really like having new content and then having it surprise me, and I don't know, just not having enough time. I feel like I want to experience something new all the time. And a lot of the games that I talk about, I'm not sure if I would really replay those games today, but Poptropica, I think I would, since there's so much content in there still. But if you look at Poptropica today, it's not really the same. I mean, the official site isn't even up, like you have to play it through coolmathgames.com. So what happened? I mean, it was such a popular game, and it left a huge impact on gaming at that time. Plus, it was so unique. So let's do some digging. Well, I think one of the reasons Poptropica was such a big game at the time was it didn't feel like just one game. It was a bunch of different games in one. Each island had its own theme, own story, mechanics, different gameplay. 1 minute you're solving a mystery, the next you're surviving on an island. Then all of a sudden you're in this random historical timeline, and it had the perfect balance that it wasn't too difficult, but it also really wasn't easy. Like, you definitely got stuck sometimes. But it had this safe, interactive gameplay, and you could customize your characters, you could solve puzzles, and people also liked how Poptropica kind of made you like the center of the game. Like, you're the hero, you'd be saving the town, you'd be solving puzzles, and you're investigating cases and stuff. Kids felt like they could do anything. And it made a lot of them really happy being the person who could save the day and then feeling accomplished by that. And you know, fun fact, Poptropica wasn't actually made to be a regular game. It's actually designed to be educational. It was developed by the Family Education Network, which was actually a part of Pearson. Pearson's actually a huge global learning company with learning services specializing in like digital content, like assessments and educational software. So a lot of schools use them. Pearson also provides like digital textbooks and then those online learning programs. They're in like 200 countries and they make software for K through 12. So the goal was to create something where kids could read, solve problems, and go through stories without it feeling like school, which is pretty genius because it worked really well. Each island was basically an interactive story. You'd be learning and solving the problem the whole time, but it didn't feel like it was forced. It focused on entertainment, but it also featured like history, mythology, literature, critical thinking, puzzles. It encouraged learning through exploration. And looking back on it, I never realized that it was actually supposed to be an educational kind of game. I genuinely just thought it was cool that we could go to different islands and then explore different themes, steal characters' clothes, and like see all these different timelines. And learning that it came from Pearson is still crazy because I remember my textbooks and like different softwares and little games that we'd play in class were by Pearson. So going back, if it was so successful and so impactful and so popular, then why isn't it around today? I mean, again, the only place you can really play it is coolmathgames.com, but you really don't see people talking about Poptropica at all anymore. So the thing is, Poptropica didn't actually shut down. It had a major decline and then migrated to Cool Math Games in 2024 after like a fake shutdown rumor caused panic in 2023. Users started losing interest and it struggled with the end of Adobe Flash. There were also some in-game changes that resulted in something called functional death, according to users on Reddit. And in 2020, the shift from Adobe Flash actually forced the removal of so many classic islands, they weren't able to successfully convert it to the new format. so there was a huge decline in popularity in 2023. Rumors of staff layoffs, lack of revenue, severe financial issues. And in 2023, the game removed its membership model, which also created a significant shift in its business. So pretty much Poptropica lives on Cool Math Games and apparently a Steam release, but it's no longer being actively updated with any new content like it used to be. And like we've talked in our other videos before, mobile gaming has dominated nearly half of the global gaming market today. And the industry started exploding in like the late 2000s and the early 2010s, so the growth of mobile games actually played a huge impact on why Poptropica became less popular. I mean, there were less browser-based games and more popularity towards games like Angry Birds and like Candy Crush and all those games that you could just easily access on your phone all the time. So it wouldn't be much of a reach to say that one of the biggest factors that Poptropica became less popular was probably mobile gaming. But the actual primary cause was the removal of Flash that lost 35 of its original islands, and then had this like huge buggy, simplified HTML5 format. And the game's reputation had already started shifting towards microtransactions and like paywalls for previously free areas and like shorter episodes. So pretty much the quality of the game declined over time regardless. And they also removed its social features, which was crazy. So many of the social interactions like visiting your friends' houses, specific mini games, they were all removed, and the game started to feel really lonely and empty. They also removed my favorite tool, which was being able to copy clothes from NPCs and other players. So it took away a lot of the creative freedom and character customization that you were able to in the early game. Then the developers in 2017 launched Poptropica Worlds, which was a separate game with a different art style, and then fans criticized it because it had these creepy character designs like fingers and janky movement, lack of content compared to the original site. And it really failed to gain that same traction as the original. And just a side note, Poptropica Worlds actually came before the shutdown of Adobe Flash, about 3 years. So all of this happened like before. It was already declining before Adobe Flash was gonna shut down. So it was already kind of losing traction before then, sadly. So today, is there any sort of chance for a revival for Poptropica? Not really. I mean, it's not impossible, but even the original studio of Poptropica Ltd. No longer exists. The original creators mostly moved on to other projects, and they have no dedicated team to even make any new content. And with the migration of the game onto Cool Math Games, the player base is pretty much a fraction of what it used to be. Like, the daily active users on the platform like Steam have dropped to single digits kind of fraction. And also, today's market has really changed. Like, the younger audience today focuses on fast-paced social multiplayer games like Fortnite and Roblox, compared to the narrative-driven solo exploration games that made Poptropica a hit in the 2000s. They also wouldn't have any money, because the game really relied on ads and memberships, which is really hard to sustain without a massive active player base. Now, the only real hope kind of sits around these like fan-led projects. There's Poptropica Legacy, which is like a fan-made desktop project aimed to recreate the classic 2007 era with improvements. But of course, this faces shutdowns because of ownership rights, and the only reliable way to play the original 50 islands is actually Flashpoint or like a different type of extension to give you Flash to play the old game. So pretty much we're cooked. Poptropica pretty much just sits on Cool Math Games, preserving itself rather than growing. And honestly, a conclusion from a lot of the community is that Poptropica had this legacy, and it's preserved by the community, but there's not really a hope of it coming back today. So let me know your experience with the game down in the comments below, whether you liked it or you didn't. What was your favorite world? What's your favorite map? I think one of my favorites is Superpower Island. It was action-packed and you can fly, do all these cool things, and also Spy Island. It was really good. Please drop a like and a subscribe to my channel if you're interested in hearing more of these little analyses. And just as a side note, I do my best to find all the facts and like information that I can, although there's always going to be like more information that I could add. So just keep that in mind to do your own research and stuff if you want more details about things. This is more like of a general information video rather than a deep dive. But thank you so much again for listening, and I hope to see you in the next one.